Hi, everyone. We're here doing another program of My Dog and Me, and things are just a little bit different, which we want to take a little bit of time to explain to you. We want to give a special shout out and a thank you to Home Instead Senior Care. We're not at Coney Lake Vet doing this, and we're not at any of the veterinarian offices, but Home Instead and Lisa Bailey, who is the director of Home Instead, is a good friend of mine, and she's letting us use their upstairs training area. So keep them in mind, think about them. If you ever need them, that's a good program to start in or have for one of your individuals living in your home that needs care that they provide for you. So think that. Okay, I have with me today Dwayne Kohler, and we have Butch, and Butch is what kind of a dog? And tell me all about it.
Butch is an English Springer Spaniel. There's two versions of English Springer Spaniels. There's the one that goes to the dog show, and they're bigger and kind of heavier and fluffier coat and whatever. And then there's the hunting line, and that's what Butch and his father are from. They're from the hunting line. Butch is a world-class hunting dog. He's just absolutely phenomenal. If there's a bird out there, he's going to find it.
Really?
And so he's brought back, I couldn't even tell you how many pheasants he's brought back. We've been guiding for the last about 6 or 7 years with both his father, and then since he came along with both of them at hunting preserves. We're a regulated hunting preserve, and the birds get stalked. And the father is very controlled. He'll work when the birds are stalked. He'll work in the field area where the birds are stalked. But a number of them leak away. Kind of get lost. They'll run away or they'll jump or whatever. Butch will find them wherever they are. So with his father Crash, it's like Crash will stay just in a certain distance from me, and Butch, you stay in a distance from Butch because Butch is going to find the bird. He's
oh wow!
So Butch his skills are just off the chart. He's just remarkable.
Let's talk a little bit about what kind of English
Springer.
English Springer
Spaniels, yes.
Okay, and what colors do they come? Are they all this color?
They're brown and white or black and white. And I picked brown and white because I thought I could see them better when I was out hunting myself, and that's my favorite hobby is bird hunting. And but it doesn't matter, brown and white or black and white.
Okay, and then, what about their size?
Butch he's like the exact size of the hunting line.
Height wise, how is he the right size height wise?
Butch, stand up for a sec here. He's about of the hunting line. He's about the right size. The show dogs, they are a little bit bigger, and they don't move quite as fast, and they're not as active. Obviously, you can tell from just Butch here for the last couple of minutes. He's very, very active.
Oh yes.
Energy, unbelievable, off the chart.
Oh wow.
We'll go out hunting, and if we're out for 2 hours, if we're out for 6 hours, it doesn't matter. They're still ready to go. They're rolling and rolling. I don't think the show dogs have that same type of energy.
Probably not. I didn't know. Does he have a tail?
Yes, and the tails get shortened a little bit.
Oh, they're shortened. Okay, so they're a little bit cropped.
They get tied up in all the thorns and everything. And
okay.
So they get cropped a little bit. Yeah.
And are there any kind of other issues with the eyes or anything that you have to be concerned about? Like whenever a person is breeding these, and if you're trying to get one, is there things that you want to make sure that you check out to make
when
sure?
When you're picking the puppy, you want to pick one that has kind of like flat eyes, like Butch does. The ones that eyes kind of bulge out, which is again like the show dogs, their eyes are kind of bulge out now. They get snagged and caught and everything when they're going through the brush. So you want, actually for a hunting dog, you want the flat, the kind of flatter eye.
Oh wow. And can you get them around here?
Yes.
Are there breeders in this area?
There is, I think in Cambridge Springs, I think there's somebody, but
that breeds this type.
This particular type. This particular type. Now, I was guiding for Pheasants Forever with Butch's father Crash, and would you ever breed that dog? And it's always absolutely, and so that's where Butch came from.
And you got to pick the litter then.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. That was great. The original place we used was over by the Cleveland Airport, Flushing Star Kennel, it's called, and that's where Crash came from, and then Butch I was just very pleased.
So you've just had the two.
I had two before that.
And what kind were they?
They were the same.
Springer Spaniels.
They both came from
same
Flushing
place.
Star Kennel. Yep. So Butch is named after my uncle who died in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I never get to meet him.
Did he tell you that? Did you care about that? Probably not.
I don't know that he
Probably
does.
not.
I don't know that he does. He's so energetic. He's ready to roll all the time.
How old is he?
He is going to be 5 at the end of July.
His teeth are in wonderful shape.
Oh yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah.
He looks unbelievable.
Their athleticism is just off the chart. It's unbelievable.
Are there any health issues with them? Do you have to be particularly concerned about anything?
Not specifically. It's more like when they're outside and running in the field, and you have to, of course, watch out for ticks. You have to watch out for thorns on them, and kind of clean them up after, and that kind of stuff. But these guys are just remarkably healthy and sturdy and ready to roll.
Okay, so he's out running in the field and he gets dirty. Into the bathtub? How do you do it? What do you do with them?
Their hair, it's kind of like it has the texture that as soon as that dries off, it just falls off. So I don't think I've ever had Butch in the bath, ever had him give him a bath.
He looks so clean.
The texture of their hair, it's just like they'll every time I take him out probably 3 times a week out to run. We go out to Woodcock. We'll go a number of places. And he just loves diving in the water, diving in the mud hole, running, smelling under every bush. There might be a bird under there. He's going to go smell everywhere. When I get home and I wipe him off with a towel, a couple hours go by. And he dries off and he's clean.
Okay, let's talk about whenever he's out running. Does he wear that collar? Because that's a pinch collar.
Not usually.
Okay, that's just so when we came in home instead, we wanted to make sure he behaved himself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And now does he have a free collar on?
We have the Seresto collar.
Okay,
yes.
Seresto collar.
That's what that is.
Okay, and you like using those?
That helps with fleas and ticks.
So you don't have to use neck guard with him?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so whenever you first train him, are you training him with a shock collar? Whistle? What are you using here?
Now, if you
what do you do?
If you talk to 10 different guys, you're going to get 10 different ways they train.
That's always the same. If you ever ask anybody whenever you should spade or neuter a dog, and you ask 20 vets, you get 20 different
You're
answers.
You're going to get a different opinion.
Sure, okay. Give me your opinion.
But my training is just to have them work. You don't want them running off 100 yards away from you. You want them staying relatively close. Pointing dogs, they run wide. This isn't South Dakota or Iowa or whatever here.
Right.
Our cover is totally different here. So when I was talking to guys back in the day, why do you have that kind of dog? Well, Grandpa always had this, Irish setter, so that's what I got. I got the Irish setter.
Okay, good. Gotcha.
Grandpa always had the Labrador. That's what I got. So I went hunting with guys of all different types of dogs, and these guys, the English setters, they can get under the cover that's here. You don't have that in Iowa and in South Dakota or whatever. And someone else told me this. Oh, the birds won't get their feet wet. That's totally not true. They love the edge of the swamp. Like where the field ends and the swamp starts. That's where they are. That's where they go and hide.
Where he'll be?
And that's where he's going to be. He loves diving in the water and going and hitting the edge of the swamp. So my thing was, okay, I was, what's going to be the best breed for the kind of hunting that I want to do. And so I settled on these guys, and totally I made the right call.
Do you use a whistle when you whistle? What do you use?
Some people do. I don't. Some people do.
What do you just yell?
Yep. So
Whenever you started, did you use a shock?
No.
Not.
My training is just working with them, and they know me. And so when I have Crash and his father Butch, when I have Butch and his father Crash together, Crash stays close, and then Butch kind of works further out, and there's kind of a competition. So I kind of like to take them separately. So we're not competing, because I don't want them pushing too far out. Because if the bird jumps 60 yards or 70 yards away, you can't shoot it with your shotgun. You want the bird to be 35 yards away or 25 yards away or something.
Okay,
like that.
So I know somebody that does the deal where they throw the dead birds into the pond. Is that what you do? No.
That does. Their favorite thing is to retrieve a water retrieve. So if you shoot one and it falls in the water, they love it. So I didn't have to do that. They from the time he was a puppy, it's like diving in the water and fetching something. So I just practiced with a dummy and threw the dummy in the water and let them fetch it and bring it back.
So he will go. Let's say we go out to Woodcock and he goes all the way around the swamp and whatever, and he's just looking for a bird that's sitting there, not realizing he's coming, and then what does he do? Does he bark at them? Does he go after them?
There are pointing dogs and there are flushing dogs.
What is he?
These are flushers. So that's why you want them to work close. That's why you want them to work relatively close to you. The pointing dogs, like I was saying, the Irish setters and the German short hairs, and all those kind of things, they will work a much wider area, and then they'll go on point. And sometimes the bird kind of sneaks away when the dog's on point, and it takes you a while to catch up to the dog, and they'll have a beeper caller or something when they go on point. There's a beeping sound or whatever. With these guys, I put a bell on them, so sometimes you can't see them in the cover because the cover is around here. The cover can be very, very dense, and so you kind of keep an eye on, keep an ear and an eye on where they are, and so It's like you can tell from their body language when they found a bird.
And from their bark?
They don't bark.
Oh, they
typically.
don't. They're not howling and barking?
They're close enough to you that you can watch them.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see the bell and you can kind of keep an eye on them, and they'll disappear in the brush and that kind of stuff. But they'll spin around and the nose will go down. And, so I mean, you can tell from their body language when they're on a bird. So it's like get yourself ready to shoot that bird. Whenever you see that going on. Whenever I take and I'm guiding.
Okay, so wait, he finds a bird and he flushes it out. You take out your rifle. Shotgun, whatever. I guess there is a difference, isn't there? You take out, the gun. You take out the gun, shoot it, then he brings it back to you.
Oh, absolutely. And then Butch's, when we did him, we had a show on Crawford County Outdoors, and Butch was introducing him on his first show. He would just go, when the bird was knocked on the ground, he would just kind of circle around, was afraid to pick it up and bring it back. So we've had him on a number of times since then, and now he picks the bird up. He just wants to parade around, show everybody off, show that bird off or whatever, and parade all over the place with the bird. So the retrieving part is that I think that might even be their specialty. Is finding that bird and then bringing it back.
Aren't you always supposed to ask, does the dog have a soft mouth?
And they do.
Okay, and explain to everybody what that means, a dog with a soft mouth.
They're not going to eat the bird on the way back. They're not going to break its bones and all that kind of stuff. They're going to carry it back without chomping down on it too badly. And so that's another reason why I picked this breed.
Does he live indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
He lives in your house?
Yep.
You don't have him outside in the kennel howling all the
I
time?
built the kennel whenever we got our very first dog, and it's like, in the first 10 minutes, it's like, well, we don't have to have them outside. They're so lovable. I mean, they want to be around the people all the time, so that's not necessary.
And he's not dirtying up the house in the living room, and your wife's not having a stroke because he's dirty
funny.
when he comes back?
We always have a dog towel pallet right by the door.
Right, I have a whole pile of those too.
And I wipe them off when they come in, and it does. I don't think I've ever given him a bath in his 4.5 years, almost 5 years of life now. The texture of their hair, it doesn't stick. The dirt just kind of falls off. When it's dry.
Well, there's a lot of people that are fanatical, even not with this breed, but with several breeds, of giving them one bath and making sure they have a bath every 2 weeks and 3 weeks. That's the biggest mistake they can make. A good groomer will tell you that you shouldn't necessarily be bathing the dog, you should be brushing the dog, and that makes all the difference in the world.
I know with my wife's therapy dog, we do brush that one, that's how that one stays. That one stays in good shape.
How does this nutho, how do you get along with people? They're Butcher, you good with people? If I come to your house?
Oh yeah.
He's going to be all over me?
He's going to bark and bark and bark, and then after about 5 minutes or whatever, then he'll just be trying to climb in your lap.
What about how are they with kids?
They're great with kids.
Are they really?
Kids. When we're walking the neighborhood and the kids are walking, their parents are walking the kids in strollers or whatever, they just can't wait to run over and see the kids and all that kind of stuff. So
does he ride well in the car? Obviously he must, because you take him a lot of places.
No, I have a pickup truck, and the back seat, the seats fold up or whatever, so that makes it very easy. When they see me grab the truck key, both of them run to the door and are carrying on. It's like all I have to do is open the door and let them. They're circling around the truck and can't wait to get in there.
How are they with other dogs?
They're fine. They're especially Crash, especially the father. He just loves other dogs, and Butch, he's all about hunting. He just kind of wants to work when we're out running around. He's like, he's off in the field, with his nose under every bush and checking everything out. And Crash is all about going and greeting the other dogs,
Does he have that?
But the breed is very social, very social.
Does he have the same drive that he has for the birds? For if there's a groundhog in your yard? Or a raccoon, or will he go out, or bunnies?
Yes.
Yes. He'll go after all that stuff.
And even the deer.
And deer. Do you go after deer? You haven't gotten any, have you?
The deer are faster than he is, so he's learned. It's like, I'm wasting my time chasing them because they can run faster than me. But
I had a dog that was very, very clever. He was a Lab Rottweiler Border Collie mix. And whenever he would see a groundhog, he was smart enough to decide he's going to go by the angle. And he'd never get behind them, chasing them. He'd wait, and then he'd look where they're going, and then he'd get them right there. Quite clever at that.
My very first Springer Spaniel, his name was Harley, and he just loved chasing and catching groundhogs. And this guy's totally all about birds. But yes, he chases rabbits. Yes, he chases groundhogs and so on.
What about if a robin gets in your yard?
He chases them too.
He's going to get them. Will he get them?
We were over on a run last year. I think it was about this time of year, and he ate a bluebird. He caught a bluebird. It got stuck in some grass, and he grabbed it. I tried to get it away from him.
Well, how many people in Crawford County do what you do? Have a dog like this, and do these trials that you're doing. Are they called trials?
There are guiding hunts for people that don't have
Guiding
dogs,
hunts.
is kind of what that's about. And I'm kind of glad that there's not that many Springer owners in Crawford County, because that kind of doesn't make much competition for me with all that. But yes,
But when you go on
there
a
are
hunt,
some.
what's it called? You go on a hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how many people in Crawford County? Where are the hunts? Ohio?
It was in Scattergun Reserve, which was in Conneaudville, and unfortunately that closed. Now there's
I know where that is.
Yeah, Brian Chase, the Chase's Flying Frenzy. That's down near Geneva. And there's one in Albion that we've been guiding a little bit here this past
So
year.
how many people go to this?
Typically it's a big thing. And some hunters, that's their hunting, is they'll just go once or twice a year for that. Now me, I go every day during pheasant season. I take them out every single day, and it's like maybe 5 pounds or whatever. Both the dogs, they'll trim down a little bit, and their kind of ribs are all sticking out, by the end of the hunting
Really?
season. But their work ethic is just unbelievable. That's one of the reasons why I picked this breed. So.
Oh, I can't believe that. Well, now, and that's called a hunt then, and a lot of people do that. And how long does that take? Just tell me real quick. So I go to watch it. What am I going to see?
Maybe 3 or 4 hours, something like that. So that kind of hunt is, we'll take the bird and you kind of spin the bird around until it gets real dizzy, and then you'll stalk it under a certain bush.
Whoa! You didn't tell me all that.
Well, so that's a guided hunt. When you go to the game lands, the Game Commission comes and opens up. Yeah, and the birds just kind of fly out and they go everywhere. So there's two totally different things.
Okay, tell me what they are. Because I don't know anything about this.
When you're stalking a bird for a guided hunt, it's like, okay, they're typically your fields, and there's paths mowed through the fields or whatever. So you're going to go down the path, and there's a bush here, and there's, so you're going to stalk the bird and tuck it. So you spin it around until the bird's, kind of dizzy.
Who does
like
that?
This. Usually me. I'm usually.
You go and you.
Before the dogs.
How do you spin them?
You take it and you either shake it like this, or sometimes I'll take it by the feet and just
Oh,
spin
my
it.
heavens.
And then when the bird's head is going like this, you tuck the bird's head under its wing, and then you lay it on that wing, and then you kind of pull its feet out. But you tuck it under a bush, or you tuck it under some cover or whatever. And so that's what I said before. His father Crash. He's the best dog. If that bird jumps up and starts to run down the trail, I can call Crash out. I don't think there's any other dog in the universe that if he sees a pheasant running down the trail 50 yards in front of him,
you can call him off?
I can call him back, and he'll stop and come back. And
How about this?
no,
Not here.
No, this
You don't
guy,
stop.
So typically what happens is that happens. You'll maybe half the birds will stay put where you put them, and Crash will flush them, and we'll get them or whatever. And then half of them. So I'll take Crash, put him back in the vehicle, get Butch out, and let Butch clean up all the leftovers, which he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal at. Then when we go to the game lands.
Okay, so the game lands. Where are the game lands?
When you go to the game lands, well, like at Woodcock.
How about towards Pymatuning? Towards
Over
the
by
end of it.
Pymatuning, there's huge game lands over
Well,
there.
they're everywhere, on both sides of 285 or
there's lots of
322.
game lands
Okay.
out there. So the Game Commission truck pulls up, and they have big crates.
And they know you're doing this.
No, they don't. They don't. Their stalking is opening the crate and letting the birds just fly, and then the birds will fly, and the birds will find a place. So that's what I was saying before. If you're in Iowa or you're in South Dakota or whatever, everything's all fields. And here it's not all fields.
No.
There are some fields, but there's also swamps, and there's timber, and there's everything. And the birds, they kind of like the transitions. They kind of like the area, like right where the swamp ends and the field starts, right where the woods start, so it's like that's what I work.
Well, how do you know whenever they're letting them loose?
You don't.
Oh, so you could go to the game lands on a certain day and there wouldn't be too many birds?
And there's none. There's next to none or whatever.
How often do they do that?
They usually stalk once a week, most of the game lands.
Really?
Crawford County is the #1 county in Pennsylvania where birds are stalked. There's more game lands that get stalked in Crawford County than any other county in the whole state.
How many birds do they stalk?
It's on
I can't believe it. I mean, I'm
it's
amazed.
on the website. It's on the website, and it's thousands. I mean, there are thousands of birds. I forget the number. I did look it up one time, and they'll show
so
you
when they get to a certain age, they stalk the area, and then they.
Oh yeah. Now the one thing that's frustrating to me is the pheasant season starts the last week of October and goes through Thanksgiving, and then it starts again after deer season's over with, which is like the second or so Monday in December, and then goes clear to the end of February. In Crawford County, I talked to a game warden one time. He's like, "Oh yeah, we don't stock up there because it's like the winter's too hard and it's hard on the birds or whatever." When they get stalked, they're usually all the local hunters are out there, and they're almost all taken in the next 3 or 4 days or whatever.
Are these pheasants?
Pheasants, yeah.
And that's
pheasants.
all. That's whenever you go to all these game things, to the game lands, or whenever you go to the ones where you're spinning this poor little bird around. So he's like dopey. That's all pheasants.
So there's
How big is a pheasant?
Well, a pheasant is about this big, weighs about 5 pounds. The second one that's also a game bird that these guys love to hunt is the grouse, the official bird of
Yes,
Pennsylvania,
yeah,
the ruffed
ruffed
grouse.
grouse.
Now there's been some ailment that's been keeping the grouse. They're starting to come back now, and so the ruffed grouse doesn't raise well in a pen, in a like a farm kind of a pen, like they raise the pheasants and so on. So what's used instead of that is called a chucker. It's called a chucker, and a chucker, it looks exactly like a grouse, it's just a little different color. And they're from out west, like they're more of a rocky area or whatever. But the grouse are very, very competitive, and like the males will fight and kill each other, and the chuckers are fine. They're fine raising in a pen. So when you go to a preserve, it's pheasants and chuckers is usually, and sometimes quail. Sometimes there's quail too.
Well, I've been in Crawford County for probably 30 years, and I had never heard about Crawford County Outdoors. So educate me. What is this?
Crawford County Outdoors is a show on Armstrong on the Neighborhood Channel, and we cover everything.
Is it a club?
No.
Oh, it's a show.
We're on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, and we do everything from. We've had a bear hunt. We had a falcon hunt one time. Every year we'll do a few different bird hunts. We'll do deer hunting. We'll do kayaking trips down to French Creek and all kinds of outdoor activities. Most recently we had just a couple of you got Butch has to take his leash.
He says we're going. We're leaving.
He's gonna walk himself.
Yeah, he's going for a walk.
Most recently we just had a show. It was really fun. The French Creek. What do they call it? French Creek Railroad. The old farm and garden supply store that was down on Meade Avenue.
Right.
That's now the French Creek Railroad Museum.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We had a whole history show here recently with that. And,
Well, now, how do people find you? How do people know when these hunts are?
We're on Facebook all the time. So I keep everything up to date.
Under
Facebook.
Crawford County Outdoors.
Crawford County Outdoors on Facebook. And
that's how they find out what Crawford County Outdoors is doing. Okay.
And so we have our celebrity chef, Lisa Beck, and she comes on the show, maybe not every single show, but most of the shows, and does a recipe for us. And so we put the recipes on there too, and those are very, very popular with folks. So this year I think we had 3 different pheasant recipes. One was pheasant tacos. That was awesome. We did a veteran.
Do you take these pheasants home and eat them?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's my favorite thing.
Wait a minute. Wait. What do they taste like? Chicken?
Yeah. It's a little bit less fatty than chicken, so you have to cook a little bit differently. So, but Lisa has that all figured out, and we did pheasant tacos, and so my wife always has me bone the pheasant. So take all the meat off the breast, take all the meat off the thighs, take all the meat off the back, all the wings, and all that kind of stuff, and cut it up in little bitty pieces. And we made tacos with Lisa on the show. So she browned it all in butter, and then used pickled vegetables and chopped that up. And so instead of like lettuce and tomatoes or whatever, you used pickled vegetables to make the tacos with. But that was just phenomenal.
What else can you do to eat pheasant? We're talking about pheasants.
I think we had in the late last fall, we had my cousin Brian Hages. He had a young dog, and so we took the dogs out with our guys, and they hunted together, and so we brought back some pheasants. And I think we did pheasant dumpling soup, and so you put the whole pheasant
dumpling soup. That's really high on my list. No, is it good?
Oh, it's awesome. And so you make little bread dumplings, and it goes in, and you put the pheasant in and leave it go for an hour, so then it just kind of falls off the bone, and break it all up in little pieces, and then you put the dumplings in with some spices and some chicken broth and that kind of thing.
You know, they say in someone's life they should learn one thing new every day. You have my brain on overload. You've told me things I didn't even know anything about. Well, now let's say if they want to find out more about when these hunts are, or whenever they're doing this, how do they find out about that?
Really, Crawford County Outdoors Facebook is a great way to
and that's where it is. Is there any other group that they should belong to?
There are.
If I got one of these nutty dogs that carries his leash in his mouth, where would I find out? What do I know? Where do I find people?
There are a couple also on Facebook. There's a Western Pennsylvania hunting dog thing, and there's a whole Pennsylvania-wide hunting dog thing, and I'm signed up for both of those, and all kinds of activities go on all the time, and you'll get a Facebook thing pretty much several times a day, on different activities.
About what's going on.
About the activities that are going on. Yeah, they'll have competition hunts and they'll have late season and whatever. Typically now we're into June now, and typically for the next 3 months we're probably not going to have much. But September
because of the heat.
Well, that's a big part of it. But these guys are okay no matter what. They can. But typically the birds are just being born now, and they're being so they need to grow for several months or whatever for them to be released. So it's probably it's like September through April. There are things going on all the time. Like I said before, the official game land, the official hunting season for pheasants is like the last week of October, and then basically most of November, and then from Christmas, a little before Christmas through the end of February. Wow.
Does he wear a certain vest or anything when he runs?
I don't. No.
Just that.
He's pretty.
He's it.
Pretty bulletproof. He's pretty bulletproof. Once in a while he'll step on maybe step on something. I get a pull a thorn out of his foot or whatever. But that was another one of the reasons why I picked the English Springer Spaniel.
Have you seen a lot of ticks on him?
With this resto color, I've never seen a tick on Butch. I've picked a bunch of them off of his father, Crash.
Have you?
I don't know why.
This is the season. That's absolutely terrible. I tell everybody, even if no matter what protection you have your dog on, you should be checking all the time.
And I do. I check them pretty much every day. And Butch never. I've never found a tick. Maybe once, but Crash, I get them all the time and pull the ticks off.
Oh wow!
And the ticks, like when they have the Seresto collar, the ticks will bite them and whatever, and then the tick will die.
Well, that's like Nick's card does the same thing,
yeah.
Right? What do you want? Is there anything else we haven't covered that you are thinking we need to know about this devil here?
He's like I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but he's just a world-class hunter.
Now, how do you mean he's world-class? We should have questioned that. I let that slide.
That's one of my retirement jobs, was guiding hunts for guys that didn't have dogs, and just any routine dog or whatever, that's probably not going to work very well. But both Butch and his father Crash, they are excellent. I mean, it's like
you have ribbons and trophies.
No, we don't do any competitions, but it's like I get called all the time whenever there's a hunt that needs to be guided and the folks don't have a dog.
Time out. What does that mean? A hunt that needs to be guided. Are you participating in the hunt, or are you in charge of the hunt?
So I'm not participating. I'm the guide.
You're the kahuna in charge.
I'm the guide. Yeah.
You're the boss in charge.
Yeah.
And that's all going to be on Crawford County Outdoor. They'll find out about you.
I do put those on there all the time. Yeah. So if you look it up and you kind of go back and look, you can see tons of hunts. Over the years, going back all the way from cold, brutal winter. This February, we had a veterans hunt, and that unfortunately had been canceled because of the COVID for the last couple of years, but it's back now. It's in Hartstown is where that's been, and you'll see 14 degrees and 40-mile-an-hour wind. Funny, one of the birds.
And you're freezing.
And it's funny, after about maybe half an hour or whatever, you don't even remember what the temperature's like. You get so excited because you're having so much fun. But it's all veterans. And one bird jumped up, and it's flapping. It's trying to fly into the wind, and it's just totally standing still. So it made it very easy for the guys to shoot that one. But if they get just a couple pellets on him, Butch is going to bring it back.
Oh,
He's
wow.
going to bring it back. So.
Is there anything else we haven't discussed or you haven't mentioned? This is your last chance to put something on here that people need to know.
I'm a huge fan of English Springer Spaniels.
I noticed that.
For our area, I think that's the flushing dog, and the way they work and the way they can get underneath the cover and all that kind of stuff. They're the dog for me.
You're something else. You're really spoiled too. And my dogs are going to go crazy. Well, Dwayne, thank you very, very much for coming again. It's Dwayne Kohler with Crawford County Outdoors. You can go to the Facebook page and find out about him. And because we are at Home Instead, I have to, of course, thank Lisa Bailey and Home Instead for letting us come here today and to do the filming. So thank you very much, and maybe we'll see you out there. Maybe I'll come and watch.
Very good, very good.
Okay, thank you. For our second part of the program today, we want to tell you a little bit about this dog that's in front of me now, and this is Renee Ray, who I know because she's works for one of the local orthopedic people in the area, so many of you know her. And this is, who is this?
Ash.
This is Ash, and Ash is what kind of a dog?
French Bulldog.
And how old is Ash?
16 months.
Okay, well tell us a little bit about French Bulldogs in general. I've never seen, what's the difference between a French Bulldog and a regular Bulldog?
Smaller, and they are known for their bat ears.
Oh, that's right. He does have bat ears.
Yes. They get confused a lot with pugs, but they have the bulldog face with the flat nose, but the big bat ears is what kind of distinguishes them.
I never knew that. All right.
And they originally, even though they're called French bulldogs, they originally came from England, and they were breeding toy bulldogs.
Can we turn the towel so the camera can see his face? Why don't you go maybe over that way? Let's do that. That might help us just a little bit here, because then maybe we can get a little bit better idea of how he looks. We want everybody to see this face, because this face is worth it. Okay, now we've got the face, and I'm going to move your chair. We're doing a little bit of moving here in the midst of our filming because we really don't care. Okay, so now you've got a better picture of him. And this is Ash, and we said this. You said he's a French bulldog rather than a regular bulldog.
Right.
And what colors do they come in?
So they come in tan, they come in black, they come in, he's called like a merle. The more expensive ones, they have a kind of a gray to kind of a blue color, but that is very rare and they're very expensive.
Does he shed?
He does shed, but not a lot. They do recommend brushing him frequently, but he does shed a little.
Okay, so he comes in beige, or he comes in black, and he comes in, you said merle.
There's merle and like a dark gray / blue.
Do you have any, who does he belong to?
This is my daughter, Tessa. This is her baby. And she always just wanted a French bulldog.
And where does Tessa live?
She lives in Bloomsburg.
And you are the babysitter this week?
Yeah, she's in Nashville for a bachelorette party.
So you're always happy no matter what because you like him?
Exactly. He lived with us when she was going back for her master's for the first 5 months of his life. So he's very much at home at our house.
That's where I met him.
Yes.
The very, very first time. Whenever I met him, he was very young. It had to be almost a year ago.
Correct. He was born in February of last year.
So let's talk about these ears. So a French bulldog has, as opposed to a regular bulldog, he has the bigger ears. You call them like bat ears.
Bat ears is what they refer to them as.
Oh my Lord! And look at his face. I hope my cameraman can get a close up of his face.
It always looks like they're smiling with their snout.
Oh my gosh! And is there? So we talked about the size. Is this the normal size?
He's a little bit bigger. The kennel dogs that go for show, they can't weigh over 31 pounds. And he weighs 33. So his dad was very big. His mom was not quite so big. So he's taken after his dad. But that's usually 28 to 31 pounds is usually their maximum.
Where's the breeder from?
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Hershey, Pennsylvania, really?
Yep.
Huh. Well, let's talk. I said we've talked about the ears. Now, he has no tail.
No tail. And that's the way they come.
Are they born like that? Mm-hmm. Oh, so it wasn't cropped after he was born?
Nothing was cropped on him, nope.
Oh, okay. Now, let's talk about the face. Because a lot of people that have the pugs in that, you have to spend time cleaning the creases. Do you have to do that to him?
Yes, he has facial wipes that we have for him.
He has what?
Facial wipes.
Are they special? Are they a special brand?
Yeah. And then he also has snoot soother that we put on his little nose so it doesn't dry, as well as on his paws.
Well, we have to go back to that. Wait, let's talk. We've got to get this right. So we've got this stuff that we're going to use to clean. How often do you have to do that, clean those creases?
Well, Tessa, I think, does it daily, but Grandma doesn't do it quite so much because he doesn't like it.
Does someone have to hold him when you do it?
No, he just
he'll let you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about that, and then you said you're going to put something on his nose because it gets dry.
Yeah, it's called snoot soother.
And is it something that...
It's like, it looks like a deodorant stick.
And that's something that French bulldogs need to do that?
Yes. He's very pampered.
Oh, I'm sure. Look, he's being pampered right now. So he's got to have the sections here cleaned out, and then you're going to put this on the end of his nose. What else are we going to do this extra care for this boy?
Well, he had
Can you turn him a little bit toward me? See if we can get
he had his nares widened.
His nares? What are his nares?
His nose.
Oh, okay.
To help with breathing. And that just helps with, they snort a lot and they have trouble breathing. So she had his nares widened to help with that.
Does he snore?
He does.
I bet he does.
Yes.
You know, I just did a program I was telling you before we started for 101.7. I talked with them about dog issues, and we were talking about the heat. Because now, I mean, not today, today is a lovely day, but normally when we've been getting into the 80s and 90s, the dogs with the flat noses, and I have a Shih Tzu, and that's one of the reasons I was talking about that, that they have such a very, very difficult time in the heat.
Yes.
So you say that you walk them short distances, but several times a day?
Right. Yesterday, being a nice, cool, kind of rainy day, I walked him 4 times, and we ended up doing almost 3 miles. So he usually does a mile at a time. But today I just walked him to the end of the street because even this is warm for him. They're very prone for overheating.
Oh, absolutely.
We have cooling mats.
Yes.
Which
I didn't talk about those, but they're very, very. Does he have a cooling mat?
He has
They
2 or
work.
3.
They
he has
really,
one at my
really
house,
work.
and he has a couple at home. And yes,
Does he like them?
Yes, he does. And he also loves a swimming pool.
Just like a wading pool.
He has little kiddie pools.
Right.
And he jumps in them and jumps out of them, and he loves them. And last weekend we had him in Conneaut Lake, and
Did he wade into the water?
no, we
Oh.
put him in.
Oh.
But not all dogs can swim,
No,
like
that's true.
most people think.
Can he swim?
He cannot swim. He moved his legs and everything, but he kind of sunk like an anchor. So
Do you have a life vest? Life vest?
we do, but he that was for last summer, and he outgrew it. So we had a good friend who was an excellent swimmer right there with him. So we just kind of wanted to see if he could swim. But
And he just was like a stone,
yes,
right down.
yes. So, but he likes the water. It cooled him, and he loves going out on the boat. He loves driving in a car, sticking his head out the window.
So that's not good.
Oh yeah.
It's not supposed to be good for the eyes whenever they put their heads out the window. But anyways, let's talk about, does he have to be groomed? Or that's all what your daughter does with this nose and the creases on the face and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, he doesn't need to be trimmed his hair. He, like as you can see, he does shed a little bit, but with the brushing, that's all he needs.
What about the nails?
He does go to get his nails trimmed, and he does not like that at all.
Do you go to a groomer for that?
She takes him to the vet.
Oh, okay.
They want
Yeah,
to see
some
your
people use the clippers and some people use the Dremel. We're starting a Dremel
Right.
with my one dog. I don't know whether that'll work or not, but they say that works pretty well. So we've talked about the nose, we've talked about the creases on the face, we've talked about the bad ears. Do you have to clean the ears at all?
He does, yes. He does get his ears cleaned.
Your daughter does all this? Mm-hmm. So, actually, she's done a good job. I mean, she gets a breed. She finds out about the breed. She always wanted a French Bulldog, and she now takes care of him like he's supposed to be taken care of.
Yes.
Do you know how many people don't do that?
And she works sometimes 12 hours a day, so she hires rovers to come in. So he spend an hour with him in the afternoon so he can get outside and do his business and make sure he has lots of attention. They do like attention. They're a very social dog.
We could talk about the fact that, and then we've talked about this several times whenever we've done any of the programs, people, first of all, who never check on a breed and see what a breed requires. My favorite story is a person who gets a border collie and lives in an apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And the dog only gets out like 10 or 15 minutes a day. But it seems to me that your daughter's done a good job
Did
learning
you know I
about
had
them.
2 border collies?
Did you have border collies when you were growing up?
Well,
You have one now? You don't have one
no.
now? No.
Our last one was 2015.
Oh, wow.
So in my married life, yeah, we had 2.
Oh, wow.
They are.
They are very needy. They need activity constantly. But your daughter's doing a great job taking care of this one.
Yes,
I mean, she
does.
really has taken the time to find out stuff. So what are their health issues? What do you have to watch for with these guys?
They're overweight, their weight. So you got to make sure because it's hard on their...
He's working on that.
He is working on that with Grammy. Like I said, 4 walks yesterday.
And how many biscuits?
He likes his cheese.
There you go.
They are prone to allergies and skin issues.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Chicken is one thing that they're usually allergic to, and we kind of watched that when he was younger, but he doesn't have an issue with it now.
Is that something that's common among this breed?
Yes.
I wonder why that is. That's interesting.
And basically you have to watch their breathing and overheating. That's the most important thing. They're a good apartment animal because they don't require a lot of activity. But they are very social. They're good with little kids. They're good with other animals. He has never met another dog that he hasn't just absolutely loved.
No matter what the dog is, he gets along. I mean, there's no growling and none of that kind of stuff.
Our neighbor had a pit bull when he was younger, and he would just go and harass that pit bull, and that pit bull was so nice to him.
Well, I noticed whenever we walked outside, because we had done another program, and he could have cared less that we went up, and that was fine with him.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't any hesitation that this is going to be an issue to him, that here's some people that I've never met before. Look at that face. I'll tell you something. That would be the face that only a mother could love. Honestly, now his nose runs a little bit. Is that common?
Yes. And when I'm walking, like this morning, he was nice enough to have me up at 5 o'clock to go for his first walk.
Good job, good job.
And, he drools a little bit.
What about the teeth?
I keep teasing Tessa because his teeth are a little crooked, and I tell him he needs braces because she does everything else for him.
Does he have a separate, only one row in the bottom, though?
Yes.
Yeah. People don't realize it, but these dogs that have the short noses also have a very high palate and a lot of width back there. That's kind of a little bit difficult for them too.
People want to see
And the other
you.
thing that I had learned one time about these short-nosed dogs like this is the fact, and I was telling you this when I came in, that a lot of people with Shih Tzus, and maybe with French Bulldogs and other ones too, go to harnesses because this sometimes can be a hassle on their windpipe, and they have a little bit less breathing issues whenever they're on a harness. Does he pull when you walk him?
He doesn't. We have this retractable leash, and he doesn't really pull.
Yeah.
He has kind of free rein when we walk, but he'll get stuck on a mailbox or something that I tell him nothing smells that good that we have to stay here this long, but he likes to.
Why did she want this breed? I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I say, we've got Dalmatians because 101 Dalmatians. We've got something else because they've been known on television. We've got Lady in the Tram for the Cavalier King Charles. Why a French Bulldog? I don't know anybody that wants a French Bulldog.
Well, if you're on Instagram or YouTube, it's a very popular dog with the young people. Like I said, for like New York City, they're a good apartment dog because they don't really require a lot of activity. When they were originally, the French aristocrats had them, so they were, a pampered dog, and they were just so cute.
Where does he sleep?
Well, when he's at home, he sleeps with Tessa in her bed.
And what about when he's with Grandma?
I go up to Tessa's room and I sleep in her bed at home here, and he sleeps with me. That's why I said he wakes me. He has his own bed that he sleeps during the day in, but he is constantly under the cover, above the cover, under the cover.
And snoring.
And snoring.
Yeah, as I said, I have a Shih Tzu that snores too. It's really, I've gotten to the point now that if I would hear somebody else snore, it would bother me. I'm so used to hearing Tyler snoring in my ear or in the room, I don't pay attention to it anymore. Well, now, he has never been neutered.
Not yet.
Do you think she wants to eventually breed him?
No, with her contract with her breeder, she's not allowed to.
Oh, okay. Could she through the breeder?
She could.
If she wanted to breed him, she may check with the breeder, and the breeder might say yes or no because of whatever.
Right.
Do they do a lot of tests ahead of time on one of these to make sure that they're okay?
Yes, she's done a lot of research. Her breeder is very highly recommended and has a good breed. And there are some that, like, he's a more stockier, lower to the ground breed. Some of them are a little bit taller.
Oh, really? He's built like he's massive muscle.
Yes. And he jumps up on the bed. He jumps up on the couch.
Oh, can he? You don't have to lift him or have a ramp.
Not now. When he was little, we walked him in a stroller because he didn't walk very far. And we had a ramp, and she had steps up to the couch and things, but he doesn't need that anymore.
You have a cat.
I do have a cat.
How does he like the cat?
And he has 2 cats of his own at home, and he does get along very well with his cat, but my cat's 15, and if he goes after a cat, she'll run and he'll chase. My son brings home a cat, and that cat chases him. So he will show his dominance depending on how it attacks. So he and my cat don't get along. She's old. She's afraid of him, and he likes to bully her. But my son's cat bullies him, so.
How much food does he eat? A lot?
So she buys him a kind of a wet food in the morning that he gets, and he'll get 1 cup of that, and then he has dry kibble at night. So he only gets fed twice a day, and then treats when we come in from outside, and cheese.
Treats that are always in Grandma's pocket, I'll bet you $5. Would you walk in with treats in your pocket?
No, I
that's
don't.
good. Well, that's good.
When he comes home, if he was a good boy, I give him a treat. And he loves cheese.
Well, I think all the dogs do. Anytime, and they always say to anybody that's a dog owner, if you want to start in the very beginning, get them used to cheese because everybody hides the pills in cheese. Now, he's probably on NexGard as far as the flea medicine. He's probably on heart medicine too.
Yes.
Heartworm medicine.
Heartworm, yes. He is up to date with all of his shots. And the vet, even though he was 33 pounds when she took him, she said that she wouldn't call him overweight because, as you can see, he is all muscle.
Do they compete? I mean, I'm sure that they have them at Westminster and places like that to compete.
Right.
Is there anything else that they do as far as special programs? Like in our previous program today, we had a Springer Spaniel that competes in hunting pheasants, which I was just amazed at. Do these guys do any type of training like that, or
They don't.
they just want to be a couch potato?
Yes, they do. They are very smart and they're food motivated, so you can train them to do things, but they also are very stubborn, so they'll only do it when they want to do it. They're a very stubborn breed.
Feeling his legs and that, it's all muscle. It really is.
And I don't know if you noticed his eyes. He has that.
No, let's talk about his eyes. Oh, he has that other
He
other lid.
He has the other lid, but he has a different color on the bottoms of his eyes. It's kind of like blue.
Is that common?
Yes.
Are they always blue on the bottom? What color are his eyes? I didn't even notice.
They're brown. Can you see that?
Oh
like
yeah, and
blue?
then okay. Special care for the eyes too. I mean, he's probably on. Maybe he's on special eye drops.
He has allergies, just like seasonal allergies, so she does give him Benadryl sometimes, and he does have eye creams and drops. He sometimes gets redness in his eyes from irritation.
They also have the bulging eyes, which can always be an
Yes.
issue with them too.
Yes.
Some dogs that are like this, especially the pugs in that, sometimes because of whatever or injuries, they have a tendency to put a few stitches on the very corners of the eyes to secure the eyeball where it's supposed to be, because it just seems to be something that could be kind of tentative if it's hit wrong or something like that.
My niece had a dog that the eyelid got behind the eyeball. And that was an emergency to get that fixed.
If I was thinking of getting one of these, why would I want it?
Because, like I said, they're
Easy to take care of.
definitely a people pleaser. They're easy to take care of. They don't require a lot of activity, but they are very expensive. You're looking at
Yeah, how much? I was going to ask you. What are they? Give me a range.
about 5,000. The blue can be up to 8,000.
I don't mean to say this, but there's not a dog in the world that's worth that kind of money. I mean, seriously, and I have a pedigreed dog too, and mine, I recently told somebody that I almost needed a payment plan, because some people like particular breeds.
So, I don't know if you heard the news story about Lady Gaga's dog walker.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Actually, this is the kind of dog that was
Oh,
stolen.
is that what she had? Did
Yes.
she ever get it back?
She got the dogs back, yes.
And
But-
she had the French Bulldogs.
Yep, so it's a very popular breed in the wealthy.
Well, the Bulldogs are popular in the Meadville area because the mascot of the Meadville is the Meadville Bulldogs.
Right.
So people have always liked them. You are just something else. You are cute as can be. Yes. They bark.
He does not really bark. Like if someone walks in the house, he won't bark
see.
at them. If he sees another dog, he won't bark. The only time he barks is in the evening. He'll just jump up on the couch and start attacking the couch and barking. Last night we caught him barking in the bathroom. He's barking at the tub. But he doesn't bark at usual things. He barks at weird things.
I just recently got a dog is an older dog, and the dog that I got is 2.5, and we have not been able to put the big television on, because the dog was living in a boarding kennel and given a wonderful life, but it had no idea what the big television was like. And as soon as I put it on, you can't stop her. I mean, I said, okay, forget that plan. Well, now I think I like you. I think maybe you like me because you're letting me give you all kind of attention here, aren't you?
Yeah, when you're rubbing him, he'll come in with your hand, and he wants you to be touching him all the time.
What would you, like, whenever we thought about doing this program, what are the things that your daughter said? Make sure you mention this, or you tell this, or did she teach you all these things, or you've just learned them by being around them?
Right. Yeah. I had asked her why, and she just said, because they're just so cute, and I wanted one.
No, they're not cute. They're ugly. Don't you think they're ugly? Look, get a close-up of this face. I mean, you have to love this face, because...
Tessa's going to be mad at you if you tell her,
I know,
baby.
but he's something else. He is cute as heck. Hey, what about does he drool a lot?
He doesn't drool, like I said, only when
He's
we're
got that
walking.
puffiness in the
When we're
underneath the lips.
Yeah, when we walk, I saw him the last couple of days, and of course, when he drinks water, he drips it all through the house.
Okay, you got puddles in the house then.
Yeah,
Do you do that? Does he drink a lot of water?
he does, especially when we're walking.
Well, that's something else with the cooling too, because people don't realize these dogs have a heck of a hard time cooling off.
Right.
You need to change the water all the time. And we didn't say anything. Any care of the ears?
I'm just cleaning
Just
them.
cleans them.
Yep. He goes and has them checked and has them cleaned out, but otherwise, yeah.
Down ears on dogs are much more of a problem, the dogs that have the down ears, because
Right.
you've got stuff in them that you've got to make sure. Well, let's get a close-up one more time as we finish this. Is there anything else we need to say about Ash? What's his whole name again?
Ash Finley Ray.
What's Finley stand for? Is that just a name that your daughter liked?
Yep.
What does your daughter do?
She's a nurse anesthetist.
Is she? And where does he usually live? Bloomsburg.
Yeah, she works at Geisinger Medical Center, but they live in Bloomsburg, which is about 10 minutes away, which is 4 hours away from here.
Oh, okay. And he's a good rider in the car.
He loves to drive, so he loves to be on your lap, so it's really hard to get him to sit into the passenger seat.
That's not good.
I know.
A lot of people, we often talk about this, and here I am, I've got small dogs and big dogs. I tell people you really should always have your dog crated. Mine ride on the armrest, but if I stop fast,
They fly.
Yeah, they're going to be catapulted into the window. So they say you should get them used to being in a crate, and I've never done it.
Yeah, he has a little bed that he sits in, and she was looking about getting him into a harness with something to hold
They have
him.
a harness that connects to the regular harness,
Yeah.
a regular seatbelt. Okay, Mr. Cameraman, did we get a close-up here? Okay, well, Renee, it's a pleasure, and I'm so glad that I had a chance to meet Ash, and since I know you, what do you we should tell everybody why do I know you? I mean, here I am a dog person, and what's the connection between us?
Well, I work in orthopedics, and I've taken care of all your
Right.
all your medical problems.
Right, and what else? And whenever you need something.
And I have some feral cats at my house that kind of have found me, so I do a trap, neuter and release program with some local people. So I borrow
The traps that I have.
traps from Sue, and she loans them to me. And I haven't given her back any with cats in it, but I
No,
threaten that.
we're not doing that.
So I get them fixed and help control the pet population.
Yes, that's wonderful, really. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming, and thank you for doing
Thanks
this.
for having us.
And another quick comment, and we always want to mention, we are at the upstairs of Home Instead. We
Yes.
appreciate their help, and we appreciate what Lisa Bailey does at Home Instead. So thank you very much for coming, and Ash, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And get that close up on that face again. Make sure he's facing the camera so they can see it, because it's classic.
A beautiful face.
Yes.